Welcome back to LlamaMamaKayla's Yarn Tube. Today I'm working on making garland for my Christmas tree. This is the three colors I've chose to decorate my tree in, but I could totally see this being made with little tiny scrap balls of yarn and just make a whole bunch of different colors, or whatever color scheme that you have that matches your tree. You know, red and white for peppermint, or red, green, and white for Christmas. This is just the colors that I chose to decorate with. So today I'm going to show you how to make a small circle that we are going to add on to this. And if you're participating in the Mystery Loom Along, you know all about making these small little yo-yos. And but if you don't, I'll show you how to make one real quick. You're going to need your flower loom. Let me push this out of the way. You're going to need your little flower loom, your pick, something to cut with, and a needle. Okay, so let's get started. First I'm going to make a slip knot and place it on the anchor peg. And I'm starting with the drawstring cast off, bringing my yarn through the front and the first and the last pegs. And I'm going to weave it in every other peg. And when I get back to the first peg, I'm going to go behind the first peg and then lay the Yorkin yarn on top of all the other pegs above the yarn that's there. And I'm going to go to the first peg and I'm just going to wrap it on there a bunch of times to just kind of secure it there. And then I'm going to bring the bottom strand over, and you only have yarn on every other peg has 2 strands of yarn. So just go around for every other one and bring the bottom strand up over the top. Okay, so now we're back to the first one and we're going to U-knit. So we're going to just lay the yarn across peg 1. Peg 1 does not have anything on it, as you can see. So this will be the first yarn going across peg 1 and just lay it across peg 2. And we're just going to kind of curve the yarn back and yarn over. So I'm going to put that down just a little bit, and then that's what we're going to do around each peg. And I'm not holding this super tight. I'm just kind of comfortably holding it there. The tighter you hold it, the tighter your stitches are going to get. So we're just going to go around all 12 pegs doing this U-knit. And that was round 1. This will be round 2. And we are going to complete 10 rounds. And so now we need to cast off. And I'm doing a drawstring bind off. I'm just going to pull the yarn up through the loops, and this will make a drawstring. Okay, I always come back and get that first peg again. Alright, and then we just flip these off. Okay, so now we need to stretch our stitches out. Alright, and then we're just going to drawstring both ends. And then just pick whichever end you want to sew up. I usually pick the end that looks like it needs it. Alright, so I'm going to thread my tapestry needle. Make sure I have all my spaces closed up there. Alright, so I've only sewed up this end. So what I'm going to do is stretch this out good. I'm going to pull the sides apart and push this down to meet the bottom, and then kind of flatten this out to make a little disc or a yo-yo. Then take my needle and I'm going to go through the center and come up through the center, and I'm going to make sure that I come up in the middle of this one. I'm just going to come up, and then I'm going to just tie a knot about 3 times. 2 would probably work. I'm just a little bit overboard there. Alright, and you just flatten that out. You may have to manipulate it with your hands or whatever, and then you have a little disc. But because I do want this to be flat, I'm going to add a few stitches in here. And I'm going to go in somewhere close to where my yarn is and kind of hold it slanted, the needle, slant it and come out the top. And then I'm going to go back in on the same row but a different stitch and slant it. And notice I'm always going the direction of my thumb. My thumb is on the back of the yo-yo, and I'm always going in that direction. Same thing, just slant that needle in there, pull it out. And this is kind of holding the 2 sides together to make it a little bit flatter, so it's not quite so puffy. Or if you want it puffy, you could just skip this part and make your little balls, make yours more like little balls and make it puffy. That is completely up to you. I think I'm about done with this step, so I'm going to go in down here, and I'm just going to tie that off to the tail that I have there, and I'll tie it off about 2 times. Alright, and then with the tail that I have here, I can just run it through. Just weave it in there a little bit. But you want to keep your stitches on the same row. If you come out a stitch and you're going to go back in a stitch, go one on the same row with it. But anyway, this makes our little yo-yo. And so adding a bunch of these together, you can make garland. So we're going to sew that on right here. I'm going to thread my tail that's already on my last yo-yo piece. I'm going to hold this up and kind of thread my needle up to come out not quite straight, but maybe at 2 o'clock, maybe between 1 and 2 o'clock. Okay, and then I'm going to take the yo-yo I just created and I'm going to put it on the back, the back facing the back. And I'm just going to take this needle and stick it through like 2 strands here and 2 strands there. And for the first one, I always come back and go back through my yarn to tie it off. And I'm going to do about 5 stitches. So that's 2. 3 should be at 12 o'clock. 3, 4. And then on my 5th stitch, I always tie it off. And then you can open it up and you see how it's sewn together. And I'm going to come back up through my blue on the back side and tie that off. And then just run my needle through, kind of weaving in my ends, that one end. All right, and then just snip off your tail. And there you go. Now you can add more until you are satisfied with the length. And I do have another that I'm going to add. I have 2 more discs that I had already made. So I'm going to add those real quick while we're here. So I'm just going to thread my needle and come up at about between somewhere about 1, 2 o'clock. In my sequence, I'm going red, white, blue. So red, and I'm going to hold my white up here. I'm just trying to pick up about 2 strands of that white. All right. 2, 3, 4, and number 5. I'm going to make sure that I tie it off. And then poke that through, come out on the back side, and again tie it off. And then just weave in my end. And then snip off my extra, and it'll just pop back up inside there. So I don't need this white. And I'm going to leave my blue tail in case I add some more. But that is my garland for my Christmas tree. I have a small Christmas tree here. So we're going to add this to my tree and see how that looks. Hey friends, I added my garland to my Christmas tree, and I just kept adding circles to my garland until I got it to the length. I just kept trying it on my tree until I got it to the length that I really, kind of liked. I'm probably going to add more to it later at another time, but just because, I want to show you other things and not spend the whole month making garland, I'm going to move on to other ornaments. But this is the way it's turned out so far, and I love these colors. I like how it's coming along. And so I hope you're enjoying these videos of decorating the tree. And I have some more coming up. So come back soon to catch more Loom Knit Ornament videos. Thank you for watching.